Okay guys, we're going to do set 9, simultaneous equations. Now this is a slightly different method to the solving simultaneous equations we did the other day. So the other day we put one equation into the other. Today what we're going to do is we're actually going to eliminate one of the pronumerals to start off with. So let's have a look at these two equations here. Alright, we're going to start by solving these. Now remember I said you can't solve an equation that has two unknowns. So in this case it has x's and y's. To be able to solve for the x and y we actually need two equations. Alright, we need two equations so we can use them together to solve for the fact that we have two unknowns. Okay, watch this. What I'm actually going to do, here's my two equations. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to add everything together. Now there's a reason I've written them like this. The x's over the x's and the y's over the y's and the 7 and the 1. Okay, everything's nice and lined up. I'm just going to actually add everything vertically and you'll see what happens. It's actually a little bit clever. So I'm going to add this first equation to this second equation. All right, remember we add together our like terms. So we add together our x's, we're going to add together our y's, and we're going to add together our numbers. Okay, so 3x's plus 5x's is going to give me how many x's? It's going to give me 8 x's. Okay, now let's add 2y's to minus 2y's. What's 2y plus minus 2y? It's actually nothing. They cancel each other out. Okay, if I add these two terms together, these two y terms, they actually add to 0. So there's actually nothing left there. So I've got x's plus no y's equals, just line my equal sign up so that you can see there's no y's there. 7 plus 1 is equal to 8. Okay, and simply by adding these two equations together, you can see now I've got this, 8x equals 8. That's a rather simple equation to solve. So we're going to divide both sides by 8 and divide the other side by 8, and you'll see that falls out rather simply. That gets rid of my 8's, and x just equals 8 divided by 8 is 1. So dividing by 8 got rid of the 8, so let's cross out those 8's, and if you have a look at the other side, 8 divided by 8 leaves me with 1. Okay, so remember there was not just one unknown, there was actually two. So here's my first answer, x equals 1, but I also need to know what y equals. Alright, given that I know now what x equals 1, I can just put this 1 back into either equation where the x was and solve for the y. So I'm going to choose this first equation. It doesn't matter which one you choose. Choose the one that you think is going to be the easiest. I'm going to choose this one, okay? And instead of this x, I'm going to replace that x with the number 1, okay? Because you'll see that x is equal to 1. So instead of 3 times x, it's going to be 3 times 1, which of course is 3. So 3 times 1, okay? So all I did is change the x to a 1. So 3 lots of 1 plus 2y equals 7. All right, now we can solve for the y because we've only got one unknown. So 3 lots of 1 is 3. That's not a 3. 3. Plus 2y equals 7. Now this is a pretty simple equation that you can all solve. Let's get rid of the 3. So let's go minus 3 from this side and minus 3 from this side. Now what does that leave me with? Well, that gets rid of my 3's. Let's cross out those 3's. And that leaves me with just 2y on the left-hand side. 2y equals, what did we have? We had 7 take away 3, which is 4. Okay, so 2y equals 4. All right. If 2y equals 4, what are we going to do to both sides? We're going to get rid of that 2. Now it's a times by 2. So we're going to divide the first side by 2. And we're going to divide the second side by 2. That will get rid of my 2's. And I'm just left with y equals, move that down so you can see it. I'm just left with y equals 2. Because 4 divided by 2 gave me 2. Alright, so there's our first equation, y equals 2. Now, if y is equal to 2 and x is equal to 1, I've solved that equation and I've got both of my values. I'll just highlight that for you. There's my answer. Okay. So that's how we solve our simultaneous equations. I simply just added these together. What I'm going to get you to do now is have a look at these two. Have a go at doing exactly the same thing. I will do it for you, of course, but have a go at doing it. What I want you to do this time is I want you to line everything up and take everything away. Now, I'm actually going to move this equation so it can go above, like so. All right, 2y and y, 3x, 12 and 9. What I want you to do this time is I actually want you to take everything away. So, can you go 2 y's, subtract 1 y, and tell me what you get? So, we're going to take everything away this time. So, we're going to go 2y, take away y. Now, what does that leave me with? Well, it leaves me with just y. 3 x's, take away 3 x's, because remember we're taking away. That leaves me with nothing. And 12, take away 9, leaves me with 3. Now I just subtracted everything here from everything in this top equation, and this is what I was left with. Now you can go right ahead and sub in y equals 3 to either of the equations. So I'm going to choose this one just because it's easier. So let's choose this equation. All right, instead of the y, I'm going to write the number 3. So 3 plus 3x equals 9. Now that's a fairly simple equation that you can solve. So let's subtract 3 from this side, and let's subtract 3 from the other side. Now that gets rid of these 3's, and I'm just left with 3x equals 9 take away 3. On this side I'm left with 6, 3x equals 6. All right, what's my next step? How do I get rid of a times 3? We're going to divide by 3. I'm going to divide by 3. That gets rid of my 3's, and I'm just left with x. So x equals 2. And there's my 2 answers for that equation. All right, you guys can go ahead and do the set 9 questions and homework for me.